the net change of a function over an interval, a, b, would just be the difference between where it got to minus where it started. F of b minus f of a. Right, that's straightforward. But little f is the antiderivative of f prime. So we can say, using that fundamental theorem, that this is just the integral of f prime of x dx. And so if we know how a function changes, if we know the rate of change of a function, without actually knowing the function itself, we can find the rate of, or we can find the net change. How much did it change over a particular time period? If we know just the rate, we don't actually have to know the function itself. We just need to know its rate of change. Its rate of change. For example, let's look at problem 42 on page 439. 42 on page 439. On 439 tells us the management of Ditton Industries has determined that the daily marginal revenue function associated with selling X units of their deluxe toaster ovens is given by. So we have the marginal revenue, it's R prime, is given by the function negative 0.1 X plus 40. Where R prime is measured in dollars per unit. In part A, the question says, find the daily revenue realized from the sale of 200 units of toaster ovens. What's the total revenue from the sale of 200 toaster ovens? So in other words, we really want to know, okay, how much revenue did they get when they started at 0, going from 0 all the way up to 200? Going from 0 all the way up to 200. So total revenue would be the net change from when they started at 0 toasters and when they got up to 200 toasters. So we want to find the net change, and that would just be the integral from 0 to 200 of R prime. So integral from 0 to 200 of our negative 0.1 x plus 40 so we work out our derivative. Integral of 0.1 x, well, you'd add 1 to the exponent, make it x squared, and divide by it. So we'd have, doesn't look very pretty, but it works. 0.1x divided by 2. And then integral of 40. So plus 40x. And we're going to evaluate that at our two endpoints, at 200 and at 0. Okay. So I don't quite have enough room to write that on there, but we're going to evaluate that at our endpoints at 200 and at 0. Negative 0.1 over 2 times 200 squared plus 40x, 40 times 200. So that's evaluating at 200. And evaluated also at 0. Well, evaluating it at 0 is pretty easy, right? And so evaluating that, you end up with what? Final answer. $6,000? Okay, so 6,000. Okay, so that would be our revenue from that point there. Okay. Any questions? Okay. Now, Part B says find the additional revenue realized when producing is increased from 200 to 300. Okay. So we want to know how much, not total revenue for 300, just how much more did they get when they went from 200 up to 300. So Part B just wants to know how did it change as we went from 200 to 300. So in other words, we'll do the same problem. Won't work out the whole problem, but Part B we would start off and say, okay, we just need the integral from 200 to 300 because we just want to know how did it change between those two values. Okay. Any questions? And then we could work that out and get our answer.